So welcome to Intuition to Income. This is Abby Gooch, and I am here this morning or this afternoon or evening, wherever you're watching in the world, with Miss Christine McAlister. And this woman just came into my life serendipitously. I was really not looking for anything, and I just found her, and my heart instantly connected. And I know that's why we're all connected, because there's a higher frequency of just true unconditional love flowing through this show. So I wanted to bring Christine online just to share her story, share how she has followed her intuition through thick and thin, through challenges and through ups and downs and all of it, to just be really real and understand that like the intuitive path is the highest path, but it's not always the easiest. So I just really want to invite you all to tap into that place in your heart that's ready to receive, to open, to clear the past, and to move forward with clarity and purpose. So Christine, if you can introduce yourself to our audience, that would be awesome.
Yes, thanks so much, Abby. So I'm Christine, and I'm a business and success coach for high-achieving women, and my company is called Life with Passion. And so I'm all about using your intuition to build a business that you're passionate about, one that gets you out of your job or make sure you never have to go back to one, right? And that you can do from anywhere so that you can pursue the things that you know deep down that you love. And so yeah, my path has taken a lot of twists and turns to get to this point where I know that this is my work, right? And this is my calling. And so I'm really happy to be here with all of you.
That's awesome. So Christine, how has your intuition guided you? So I know there was probably a point of transition where you really had to listen to your intuition and make some choices. So how was that for you, and how did you tune into your intuition?
So that's a great question. I would say that I've always been a very highly sensitive, intuitive person, but I think I'm also type A. And so those two things really warred inside of me for a long time, and that's still my work today. I find that that's the case with the clients who come to me as well, which is really interesting and awesome. So I would say that I was kind of pushing through and powering through for probably the first 2/3 of my life, just doing the things you were supposed to do, right? Like being really good in school, getting the awards, getting the scholarships, blah, 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 super oldest, type A, whatever. And I also knew deep down that there was a different path for me, and that path looked like running my own business and having a huge impact. And yet, because I didn't have the plan as a type A person, I let that kind of keep me stuck for a lot of years. For most of my 20s, I had jobs, even though I knew that I knew that I knew, and I had always known that I was meant to be an entrepreneur. And so I think that, for me, the choice point is intuition or fear. Intuition or fear. And I didn't have the tools for a long time to listen to intuition over fear. And so that's why I did the thing that, kept me stuck, kind of follow the, expected path. And I would say that when I finally listened to my intuition and said, it's time to do it, I've just got to answer the fear with action, I was really quickly confirmed in that, right? My intuition had been telling me all along, and it was finally, you're listening. And so when I quit my 9-to-5, I replaced my income in the first month. My intuition was thank you. So, I would say that over the next several years, I again found myself building a business where I was doing what others expected of me. And the real opportunity came about almost 3 years ago now, when I very unexpectedly, very suddenly lost my first daughter in a full-term stillbirth. And that experience and that moment of devastation and everything that followed, right? I had to deliver a full-term baby who had already died, and you can imagine the craziness and upside down world that I found myself in. that experience is what got me over, I think, the fear for good and got me into the higher intuition place, because I went, to heck with this. Like, this life is about me doing something that matters in the deepest level, doing what I was created to do, creating a legacy that I can be proud of, and that also, like, my daughter, who isn't here to do it, can be proud of as her legacy. And that is what led to me starting Life with Passion, and like getting over my fears, getting over my stuff, getting over my, needing to live into what expectations other people had for me, and going, no, what is my thing? And I really don't care what they think, because the intuition is what matters.
Mm-hmm. So I love that. I was talking with somebody in London the other day, and she said her mom passed, and that basically was her catalyst to become even more intuitive. I know myself, I had this huge breakup, and it was like this huge catalyst. So it's like, that's what I was saying about challenges, that sometimes, our mind will judge. And, like as a kid, I had a lot of just trauma. And I remember saying, don't just look at the outside, drop into your heart and actually feel what's going on, because then you can open to your intuition, because there's a deeper truth. So for you and everyone listening, it's like there's a deeper truth if you feel with your heart than if you judge with your mind, because it can be like, oh my God, this is so devastating. Like, I've had very similar experiences, and it's so, to me, it's traumatizing. But it's like, if you move into your heart and you feel, there is a gift there. And so you can transform it with love into your higher calling, into usually some form of service, is what I've seen. You kind of have to get over yourself to get through yourself. It's kind of like that older version of you, to move into that and trust your intuition. Like you said, I love that. I really love that. Even just a small step, and then watch the action be confirmed by an amazing result.
Yeah. Exactly.
So cool. So, well, I was going to say, how has your intuition led you to more income? You've really shared a lot about how it was your catalyst to get you to open your business. So can you tell us a little bit more about the work you do with women specifically, maybe men too, but I know for some reason I get a sense you work with a lot of women.
Yep, definitely. So my work is very much a mix. I call it like simple strategies and self-belief. So much of it is helping women connect on a deeper level, or even like reconnect at all to their own intuition, and then putting simple strategies around that in order to grow their businesses. So whether that means starting a business that they've always wanted to start and they have no ideas. My background is as a professor and as a career counselor. So I've got like those pieces of kind of doing the exploration and helping them dream again. And then also finding strategies that are really aligned for them. Like, my clients build their businesses in every way imaginable, from no advertising at all, strictly on referrals, to like an Instagram post that's super aligned and blows up for them, And so the important thing is not like a cookie cutter solution. And we all know that is never going to work for somebody who's intuitive, right? The important thing that I see is like connecting to intuition, and also getting over the fear and developing the confidence to trust themselves, move forward with my support, with my accountability. I say it's like holding your hand and kicking your butt, right? Because most of us need both. But to do it in a way that feels really good and fun and simple, and it doesn't have to be complicated and overwhelming and all up here, right? If we're like aligned and listening and showing up and coming from this place that feels really, really powerful and really, really good, it clicks, it works. And yet we all have these ways that we block ourselves, and we hold ourselves back, and well, they're doing it this way, or I need to do it this way, or we have these old stories. And so a lot of my work is like clearing out that clutter and kind of reconnecting each of my clients to what they're meant to do, how they're meant to do it, and then carrying that out.
So how would you say that you could help the audience today break through one of their blocks, or maybe through fear? Like if whatever's arising, as you dream and you open up to what your intuition is telling you, because it will continue to knock until you listen. It just will. It's your soul. how could you help us all move past that fear, big or small, to actually choosing intuition choice, right?
It is. It so is. Just like much of life, right? I mean, there's this quote that I love from a guy named Charles Swindoll, and he says like 90% of life is the how we respond or our choices around the 10% that happens to us, right? And so when we're talking about listening to our intuition, like it really is a choice of how you choose to look at anything. And so I think no matter what's coming up for you today, I think that's a really important point to start to play with, is that like you always have a choice. You always have a choice in how you choose to view something. And the choice in how you choose to view something, right? Is it happening for you or is it happening to you? That makes the difference in how then you respond. And so I'd love for you to think about whatever you're struggling with right now as happening for you, and make that choice instead of happening to you. And certainly, you know, varying degrees of difficulty in life, right? That gets harder and harder as the stuff we're dealing with gets harder and harder as well. But I feel like pretty like qualified to say that, having been through what I've been through, that you do get to make a choice about it. And then I would say also, it's a mix of processing and like really small actions, because it's not just one or the other. Like I keep my journal right next to me all the time, right? And like if I'm dealing with something and I can't figure out what's going on, or I'm feeling confused, I might just take 5 minutes and be like, what the heck is this, right? And process through it. But after I do that, I'm probably going to take 5 minutes of action as well. So that I heard this saying that I really love from one of my mentors, and it's that action cements belief. So like sometimes if we are just like feeling like we're banging our head against the wall, like nothing feels like it's working, but we've just been really like in it and processing, sometimes we just need to act like we believe something different in order to tell our brains, our hearts, everything that we do, right? And then the belief follows. So I think it kind of depends on where you are as to the first step there, but those are several different ways that you could approach, you know, overcoming a block by using your intuition.
Mm-hmm. And also dropping into the knowing, because I think sometimes people get confused about what intuition is. There's like a still small voice, a knowing, a peace. It's really a peace, right, that you can feel in response to your knowing. So to find that still point within, and then it's easier to act because there's that clarity, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I'm just curious, how have you seen your life improve as you've been able to follow your intuition, which has then helped you serve other people? I truly believe when we're following our intuition, the natural response is we'll serve people because we're all connected to the greater whole.
Yeah, I love that. So I would say that my default a lot of the time is to just do, but that's my brain default, right? I would say that as I've allowed my intuition to become stronger, as I've listened to it more, as I've gotten more in tune with it, I've started to have a lot more fun, which of course makes everything in business so much easier, right? And, you know, it takes a lot of the pressure off, which also, of course, then takes a lot of the pressure off of my clients. Like whether or not they ever knew that I was feeling pressure, they could, of course, feel it years and years ago, right? And so I would say it allows for a lot more joy, right? A lot more joy in life, a lot more fun, a lot more like trust and letting go, and not being such a control freak that I actually like reduce my income because I'm trying to take responsibility for things that aren't my own, you know, to control. And I would say it totally, like, I mean, look at what following my intuition got me. Like, that's what I do all day is serve, right? I serve women around the world now, and I love that. And also make more money than I ever have. So it's both. It's intuition does lead directly to more income.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. That's what the show's about.
Woohoo!
So yeah, I guess, the word that's coming is courage. So like, again, to build that courage, because like I keep sharing because it keeps coming up when the trauma or the fear hits, it's hard to reprogram. And so the intuition is there, but how to build up courage to actually choose intuition. So it's like, what are some key points that have built your courage that maybe you've seen with your clients? I mean, I can offer a few if you'd like, but just how to build up the courage.
Yeah. I love that courage, that word. It's just
Yeah. Yeah. It's like to take action in the face of fear, I've heard.
Yes. Yes. And that root word, cur, right, is heart in French, Latin, the whole thing, right? So like, I think that one of the big things that I've found to be super powerful with me and with my clients is like, I like to have them create what I call a confidence resume.
Nice.
And keep it in front of them. So we are so quick to forget all the awesome things that we've done, right? We are so quick to be like, on to the next thing, or but that was 3 months ago that I had this huge win, right? And so I really believe that we've all been through things. You mentioned stuff from your childhood, like certainly my experience losing my daughter, Maeve, is one thing that I've been through. I could talk about others, but like we've all already been through things that are way harder than the thing that we're thinking about doing now and the choice that we're thinking about making now. And so I think when we reflect that to ourselves, then we feel like a badass. Instead of being like, I don't know if I can do this, it's like, I survived that. I can do this. I can do anything. Yeah. Right? And again, it's about that choice of how you look at it, right? Are you a victim of that circumstance? Like maybe you were at the time, but now you're a survivor of it. You're a survivor of it, like you're on the other side of it, and now you have a choice of what to do with it. And so, like, I know when I lost Maeve, I was very aware that that loss was going to define me one way or another. Like, I could hole up and become agoraphobic and, just only open the door for someone to deliver more wine, right? Or I could create a legacy. I could go big. I could, play at the level I have always known and dreamed about playing, and use that loss as like a springboard to greater things. And so we all have those things. Whatever it is, don't discount it and be like, oh, well, my daughter didn't die, so it doesn't count. No, you've been through stuff that's hard. And so give yourself some credit for that. Reflect on that a little bit. And I would also say to write down the things that you've done that you're proud of, right? I mean, were you the captain of something or the president of something in high school? What were you known for? What made you different or weird? What made you stand out? And then all the way up, write your accomplishments. And reading that is going to create more courage for you, because those are already things that you've done, whether it's stuff that you've survived, whether it's stuff that you've accomplished. I love doing this. It works every time, and it's always something you can come back to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like negating the negative with the positive, or bringing the light into the darkness. It's like, whoo,
Yeah.
I love it. Very cool. Anything else that you'd like to add?
I think that it's important to just give yourself a little bit of space every day. I think sometimes when we want to get more in touch with our intuition, and maybe we've fallen out of a habit, or maybe we're just looking to step it up a little bit more, right? Increase our intuition, increase our flow. I know for me, there have been times where I'm like, I have to get away on a silent retreat, right? And yeah, that's awesome. But I also think I could just go to a quiet room in my house and sit for 5 minutes, right? And that's what I can do in this moment. And so I think give yourself that space. It still counts, right? You're still going to get the benefits of your intuition, of, connecting your intuition to increase your income. And so that's my challenge to you, is just give yourself that space for 5 minutes today.
Yeah, find the space. Find the space to listen, because I think when you create that quiet space, you can listen. You can hear the message. And then, like you said, it's about trusting and taking action on that. And maybe, I love what you said about control, like even if you don't know how. So it's like, I mean, in blind faith, I would follow my intuition because it felt so right. And there's like this, that I said, deep knowing. So it's a heart, gut feeling that your body, there's a life force energy that moves you. And so if you allow that life force, it's like you're magnetized towards it, but it's going to be beyond your intellectual understanding. Like Albert Einstein said something about it, right? Like something about the intellect being the servant of the heart, because it's like, it truly doesn't have as high of intelligence as your heart and your gut. So that's why when you listen to it, it works out. You may not understand how or why, and like we're saying, even negative experiences have a higher meaning. So if you're trusting your gut and listening, it's going to work out. Like I woke up this morning thinking that like, wow, like the truth is, like it always does work out, because we always come back home to that love, to that place, that knowing, that peace, right?
Yeah.
So like even beyond form, that is intuition. And so when we trust that metaphysical energy and embody it, then we can create. Like that is the joy of creation, because you're tapping in. You're tapping in, tuning in, and living. So I just love what you shared about that. I think it's so true and so simple. Is there any way that people can contact you if they want to work? I know you and I have done some work together, which has been phenomenal, just about bringing clarity, right? Because we can feel the intuitive knowing, but then the clarity is like that piece, like, oh yeah, it's just fun. So
Totally.
Is there an email you want to leave or your website where people can reach out?
Yeah. So I've got a gift that's aligned with like your intuition, but also what do you do with that, right? How do you specifically take action that I'd love to offer everyone? So you can go to lifewithpassion.com/intuition, and it's a workbook on the 5 ways to get your first or next client, and dealing with some of the stuff that we're talking about, clarity, your confidence, your courage, those types of things tied in with like really practical steps. And you're also welcome. So you can grab that at lifewithpassion.com/intuition. Check that out. You're also welcome to email me at Christine@lifewithpassion.com. I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to add or just share with our viewers? Anything that comes to mind?
I think that this is such an important topic. I think listen to your intuition, as cliche as that sounds, right? And keep showing up for it. Like Abby said, it may not make any sense, right? Our dreams and our goals, when our dreams come to us, like through our intuition, they sound so crazy that we might be really quick to dismiss them. But that learning and leaning into that self-trust is so powerful and so life-changing, and it starts by just, like you said, getting quiet and just listening a little bit more and taking that action.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Christine. It's always such a pleasure to connect, and I know people will definitely reach out for that gift. I'll definitely look it up. And yeah, so until next time, we'll see everybody tomorrow. All right, take care. Bye.